Hello everybody, this is Craig C. White with hightimetoawake.com, and I want to talk today about what's happened in Syria, and particularly in Damascus, and compare that to Bible prophecy. A lot of events that have happened recently, I believe, are fulfillments of Bible prophecy. So let me just read Jeremiah 17, a few verses, and we can compare that to what's just happened. Isaiah 17, the burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aor are forsaken, they shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. Isaiah 17 mainly predicts the conquest of Damascus by the Assyrians in 796 BC. So a lot of Isaiah has been fulfilled, Isaiah 17. But some of these verses also apply to what has just happened. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Assyrians. First of all, the Antichrist is, in the Bible, is compared to the Assyrian kings. And this is all in your Bible history. You can read it for yourself in your Bible. I want to tell you what the Assyrian kings did that the Antichrist will also do. The Assyrian kings conquered Damascus and then invaded northern Israel. 30 years later, the Assyrian kings invaded southern Israel, and the Antichrist will do these same things. All right, so let's just look at these verses again real quick, and we can say what has already happened, or what happened recently that has been fulfilled. First of all, the kingdom shall cease from Damascus, and that's happened. Bashar al-Assad has been removed as king of Syria in Damascus, so the kingdom has been removed. It also says that Aor shall be forsaken. Aor is on the outskirts of Damascus, and if you know anything about the 14-year-long Syrian war at this point, the outskirts of Damascus, a lot of them, are completely obliterated. They are rubble. Okay, and I just want to say that I know people read Damascus is taken away from being a city, it shall be a ruinous heap. The outskirts of Damascus are a ruinous heap, and the conditions of Damascus and its surrounding neighborhoods today are very similar to the condition of Damascus and the surrounding cities in 796 BC when the Assyrians conquered Damascus. So we may not need to look for a complete destruction of the city of Damascus for these verses to be fulfilled. They were fulfilled in 796 BC, and they've been fulfilled in the last few years and even months. So we may not, but there's one verse that makes me think that maybe we should be looking for the very central city where the capital of Syria is, the capital building, and that's in Jeremiah. Let me just look at that real quick. In Jeremiah 49:25, how is the city of praise not left, the city of my joy? Though, if you parse the words there with your concordance, you'll see that that refers to ancient buildings and cities that God has known and loved for many, many years. And those buildings would be in the center of Damascus, and still are. I mean, some of the oldest construction in anywhere in the world is in Damascus. And so that verse leads me to think that that is specifically talking about downtown Damascus, which is called today the Old Damascus neighborhood. So that's something that I think we should at least be cognizant of. Now, the Antichrist is compared to the Assyrian kings, and so the Assyrian kings did destroy the outskirts of Damascus in particular, and conquer Damascus, which has happened now. And I just want to tell you that first of all, it isn't a mystery to me who the Antichrist is. The Antichrist is Turkish President Erdogan, and there's other verses in the Bible that inform you of this. So the conquest of Damascus was nearly completely orchestrated and funded by Turkey. Turkey hired, way back in 2011, Turkey hired jihadists. They have a recruitment company that they employ, and they hired all sorts of jihadists and formed the Free Syrian Army, and now they also have something called the Syrian National Army, which is not the army of Syria. It's a paid army ruled by Turkey and directed by Turkey and funded by Turkey. And these jihadists came from all over the Middle East. The recruitment agency, put out the word, come fight and we'll pay you $1,000 a month, and they came. And primarily, especially with the Free Syrian Army, primarily the Free Syrian Army is filled with Libyan Al-Qaeda Sunni Muslim jihadists. And Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 5 mentions Libya marching with Turkey into northern Israel, or into Israel. And Libya is right up there as far as numbers of Sunni Muslim jihadists, but Sudan is right up there with them too. There are a lot of Sunni Muslim. Sudan is almost 100% Sunni Muslim, and so there's plenty of Sudanese, and that's also mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 5. And while we're on the subject, also Ezekiel 38 also mentions Iran, and Iran is represented by Hezbollah. And Hezbollah, even after the fall of the Ayatollah in Iran, Hezbollah has said, wait till you see our might against Israel. So Hezbollah is still raring to go against Israel. So anyway, concerning the destruction of Damascus, I think if it is further destroyed, that Turkey will play a hand, or will be the main culprit to destroy it. Like I said before, I don't necessarily think that has to happen, but it seems like the Bible is indicating that. And the government in Damascus now is another Sunni Al-Qaeda faction, and originally they were known as the Al-Nusra Front, or just Al-Nusra, and they've changed their name to HTS, and that's another story. But the Al-Nusra Front is the Saudi Arabia funded faction of Al-Qaeda. So even though Turkey worked with Al-Nusra Front and the Free Syrian Army and all these other Al-Qaeda groups that are fighting in Syria, and still a lot of them, especially the directly Turkish funded ones, are still in the north of Syria. Really, A lot of them in the northwest, but they spread all the way across in the northern part of Syria. So the Saudi Arabian funded HTS that is now ruling Syria, or at least Damascus, is not necessarily compatible with Turkey. Turkey hates Saudi Arabia. Turkey is envious of Saudi Arabia. They want to be the center of Islamic worship, and also they hate that Saudi Arabia has ties with the United States and even Israel. So Turkish President Erdogan doesn't necessarily find the Saudi Arabian Al-Qaeda faction as an ideal person to rule Damascus. So he may yet come down and destroy Damascus. Just want to add a little fact that Saudi Arabia is funding the new Syrian government. They're paying all the government salaries. So Saudi Arabia has great influence right now in Syria. I want to tell you, though, that their power position is very precarious. If Turkey wanted to come down and take over, they could do it pretty easily. As I said before, the ancient Syrian kings conquered Damascus and then invaded northern Israel. And Turkey has orchestrated the fall of Damascus. They may further destroy the actual buildings. We'll see. But I'm sure that Turkey and all of its Al-Qaeda affiliates, along with Hezbollah and maybe the Iranian army, but Iran, according to Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 5, are going to at least attack northern Israel. In the news a week ago, this is September 2025, and about earlier this month, Turkish President Erdogan said that Israel will drown in the blood of the Palestinians. So, and he's referring to the Palestinians in Gaza. So, Turkish President Erdogan has cut all diplomatic ties with Israel, and that's just happened. So, Turkey is motivated to attack Israel. So I think that the Ezekiel chapter 38 battle called Gog and Magog, which refers to Turkey, will happen soon. So we can see that Turkey has already done the first thing that the Assyrian kings did, and that is that they have orchestrated the fall of Damascus. They may yet further destroy the city, the downtown city of Damascus. They may yet further become the official rulers in Damascus. We'll have to wait and see. But this should alert Christians to the fact that Turkish President Erdogan could be the Antichrist. And I'm telling you that he is the Antichrist. But this should be an alert. And unfortunately, I don't really see Christians concerned about this or alerted by this whatsoever, which concerns me.